Hey, everybody. This week, we're going to be diving into a topic that I always talk about, I love chatting about, but I, just like everybody else, I think despise, and that is meal prepping. It's one of those things that we all know we should do it. We all know that it's got the benefits. We know it's going to save us some time and money throughout the week, but sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain, and we don't want to do it. So, we're going to dive into how to make it less painful, how to make it something that's relatively painless, relatively easy, and believe it or not, relatively enjoyable.
I think the other thing with meal prepping is we're going to kind of talk about the system that we implement in our day-to-day life at home to, make this work for our family. But I think a lot of the piece with meal prep is to make sure that you actually like allot yourself enough food for the week. Like a lot of people say like, "Well, I cooked all this and it was supposed to last 4 days, but I ate it in 2." And so how to know like how much food you're supposed to be having at each meal and to be able to account for that ahead of time and also meal prepping in a way that's giving you options throughout the week so that you're not stuck eating the exact same thing for every meal all week long, because that's something that I think people will tell us in the office is, well, I tried meal prepping but I hate eating the same thing all week. Same. So there's some options that we can look at to help you have choices throughout the week so that you don't feel quite so stuck and still give you the flexibility to eat out and be social as you choose to do so.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is step one, and this is something that applies to meal prepping in literally every other aspect. And it's something that helps us keep our heads on straight just in daily lives. And that's sitting down and planning what exactly is going on for the week ahead. What all needs to be accounted for? Are you going anywhere? Are you traveling? What meals are you going to be eating at home, at work, and things like that? Because unless you start with first understanding what your needs are, you're just going to be throwing stuff together willy nilly, and the odds of it actually working out for the entire week are going to be pretty slim. So take that couple minutes, sit down, figure out what actually do you need first and foremost. How many days, how many meals, and write that down.
And then with that, I would say the next thing to kind of consider is we really base our meals based on protein that we're going to have. So we get our meat in bulk from Butcher Box. There's lots of other great local options, or you can just get it from the grocery store. But we try, once we figure out how many meals and servings we need throughout the week, we figure out how much meat we need in order to meet our protein requirements at each of those meals. So I'm going to let Jay tell us how much meat we need because otherwise I don't want to butcher it. And this is totally his realm, not
Pun
mine.
intended.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when it comes to the meat aspect of things, whether it's meat or tofu, insert your protein item of choice. We want to make sure that we are consuming enough each day to hit those needs and targets. So, Nicole and I, we do consume meat. So, our lunches and dinners are going to contain a meat product. A general and easy rule of thumb that helps us be able to meal prep easily without worrying too much is that for each meal, we want to have a quarter of a pound of meat. That's going to be 4 ounces, and that's going to be providing right around 25 to 30 grams of protein. For the vast majority of individuals, that's going to be great. That's going to be a very sufficient amount to be able to hit that protein target. Yes, everybody's situation is a little different. There are nuances where some may need more, some may need less, but more often than not, that quarter of a pound is going to be great, both from a actual physiological need to maximize what our bodies need, but also too for ease of planning and strategizing. So when it comes to that, each pound of meat that we have, Nicole and I are going to be eating the same meals. Each pound of meat is going to be good for 2 days, 4 total meals. So we know if we're going to have this meal for the week, and that's going to be our dinner, we want to allocate typically 3 pounds because that's going to get us Monday through Saturday for everything that we need right there. Then, similar thing for lunch. What do we want our lunch to be? That protein, 3 pounds, Monday through Saturday. That's going to be able to help provide everything that we need to ensure that we've got 6 days worth at least of the key component to get us through. And then once we know the protein item of choice that we want to be utilizing, then we start doing the lovely Googling like, okay, what do we want to use ground beef for? What do we want to use chicken breast for? And then we kind of figure out what actually sounds appealing and appetizing for us for that week.
And I would say And that's truly basically our process. And we personally are in a very busy season of life with running a business and growing a team and having a very active 15-month-old at home that keeps us busy. And so our bandwidth to meal prep is small. And so we have really started prioritizing meals that are faster to make, utilizing our crock pot more, utilizing our Instapot more, things that are more hands off for us, and also only choosing 2 recipes per week so that we have a lunch option for the week and a dinner option for the week. And that is giving us food Monday through Saturday, but that also leaves us with 2 flexibility meals out on Saturday and Sunday, or sorry, 2 meals out on Sunday. And so oftentimes for us, that looks like taking dinner out both Saturday and Sunday, and then we have lunch at home both Saturday and Sunday. But it also means that, like, on a Thursday night, if I'm like, I am craving wings, we can do that, and we can flex where we take that meal out throughout the week, so we don't have to be so stuck to, well, it's got to be Saturday and Sunday. It's like, well, actually, we just have food for the whole week, and you can take those 2 meals out whenever you would like. And it just needs to kind of, you need to just eat the other food that you had on the days that you chose not to eat out. And so that is something that has really helped us. But in other seasons of our life, we have made maybe 3 or 4 recipes in a week so that when we go to eat lunch or dinner, we can say, okay, do we want Greek chicken salad? Do we want beef enchiladas? Do we want chili? Or do we want chicken kebabs? And so that's like we have 4 choices that you can eat so that you never actually feel like you're eating the same thing over and over again for the whole week. And my advice would be if you're somebody who feels like you hate eating the same thing all the time, which is me to a T. Jay could eat the same meal every day. And he did this for years in college. Um,
Grad school.
yeah, I can't do that. But um, if you are like me and you feel like you need the variety, to pick proteins that you can work on saying, okay, I just know that I need the chicken to be roasted, and then I can pair this with different things so that you're cooking just 3 pounds of chicken at once, and then you're splitting that in half and saying, okay, half of this is going to go in a salad, and here are the veggies that I'm going to prep with that. And then half of this is going to go into a burrito or an enchilada, and here's how I'm going to prep that. So it's a little bit more work, but it does give you the variety, but it also allows you to kind of cook the basis of your food at once rather than trying to be like, I'm going to do 4 recipes top to bottom, because that's going to be exhausting. It's going to be a ton of dishes and it's going to take you a ton of time.
It's that planning ahead that will allow you to be able to have that flexibility. So if you batch cook the protein, like what Nicole was just saying there, and you have the protein, you've got it seasoned however you want, and it's just kind of chilling, ready to go for whatever recipe you want, that's where you can provide the flexibility. If one day you're like, you know what, I want pasta, whip up the noodles. That's going to take you 7 minutes. If you have some pasta sauce ready to go, like we always have a can of Rouse readily available, you cook the pasta, you have the can of rouse that you dump on it, you add the chicken in there, and if you have a bag of steamable vegetables like broccoli or something like that, throw that in the oven, and you've got everything right there. Sprinkle some cheese on top of the pasta. You've got a fat, you got the protein, you got the carbs, you got the veggies. Boom. So you have a freshly made meal that's done in about 10 minutes. And that 10 minutes is literally watching water boil for those noodles. But then, same thing, you get microwavable rice to where if you want like a Chipotle bowl, but if you want that, make sure that you've got some of the veggies kind of already chopped or ready to go there in the refrigerator. Have the salsa, have the sour cream, whatever it is that you're wanting, ready to go. But it starts with just having that protein available, understanding who you are and what your taste preferences are likely going to be, and have some of those shelf stable items readily available to be able to fill that gap. So have the foundation, have those fundamentals of those key items, and then everything there else that can be shelf stable, just make sure that you keep that stocked up. The pasta, the rice. You can get canned beans, like canned products and frozen products are still very nutritious. They're not poorer qualities than the fresh products. And a lot of times, too, if you're getting something that's out of season, the frozen products are going to be more nutrient dense because they've been frozen at peak ripeness. It will preserve that. So don't feel as though you're cheating yourself on those health benefits by getting a frozen item. As we did just this weekend, we had a crock pot recipe. Call it lazy, call it efficiency. We didn't want to chop an onion and a pepper. So we just bought a bag of frozen onion and frozen peppers that were already diced, threw it in the crock pot. It was $1 a piece. Like, yes, please. So don't shy away from utilizing those types of products. They are still going to be nutritious, but then understand yourself on what it is that you're typically wanting and have some of those items readily available. So if you do last minute want to change from a full meal that was prepared to something a little more spontaneous, you've got that ready to go.
Yeah, and I would say too, like there's a lot of talk about like AI, good, bad, and different, all the things. But ChatGPT can be a really useful tool, even if you have no idea how to prompt and utilize it. If you just go into ChatGPT and you say, I have roasted shredded chicken in my fridge, and I have noodles, and I have a can of black beans, and I have salsa, and I have microwavable rice, and whatever you have in your refrigerator or pantry, like what can I make for dinner with these ingredients in 5 minutes or less? It will tell you exactly what you can make and how to put it into something that's going to taste good. It might even say, add a little bit of oregano seasoning on top, do a little bit of this. It's going to give you options. And I think the biggest thing I can say with meal prepping is, especially if you don't want to eat the same thing over and over again or spend your whole weekend in the kitchen meal prepping, is to have a bunch of those self stable basic items so that you can utilize them when the time comes. That includes spices, it includes sauces. Pick brands that are cleaner, less of the high fructose corn syrups type stuff. I really like Primally, or not Primal Pure. What is the
Kitchen.
Primal Kitchen has great dressing and sauces. Sir Kensington has really great stuff as well. There's really awesome brands. Thrive Marketplace has a lot of that stuff at a reasonable price, but the grocery store does have it too. And so I think just stocking up on some of those essential basics makes it way easier to pivot throughout your week and also save you a lot of time and money and making sure that you're meeting your goals in the kitchen too.
Yeah, and it really helps to switch up and avoid that flavor fatigue. So utilizing like a chicken and rice bowl type thing, you can completely change that purely by changing the sauce that you're putting in it. It's going to taste and seem night and day different, but it's going to have the same key ingredients. So you're not having to make two separate things. But if you've got that sauce that you know is a quality product with quality ingredients within it, you can still consume that feeling good, knowing that you're getting a very good, nutritious item and it's going to be tasting good and really satisfying what you're wanting in that moment.
Yeah. And so these are just some tips that we have learned, I think, as we have meal prepped over the years and it's evolved. And there's been some seasons where we've been more creative and doing exactly what we're saying to you right now, where it's here's the protein and here's a whole bunch of different flexible options. So if Jay wants a barbecue chicken salad and I want a buffalo chicken salad, we can do that. And then everybody's happy. But there's also been seasons like this one where it's been a lot more strict of like this week we're eating lasagna and chicken tortilla soup. And they're both great and they're both different. And it's helpful for the flavor profile to pick two recipes that are very different and do contain very different veggies and nutrients in them so that we don't feel like we're eating the same thing twice a day all week long. And I think you just have to be realistic with yourself to say, what kind of season am I in? What are my goals right now? And then giving yourself the flexibility. We make 6 pounds of meat a week. That does not have to be what you do. Maybe you have a better social life than us, but like we have a baby, we eat in a lot. So maybe you like to go out and you like to go do stuff, or you have a job where you're traveling more, or you are eating at work more frequently than we are. So you might not need 6 pounds of food every week. And so I just, starting from the beginning of planning your week out and really thinking about where do I need meals? Where do I need snacks? That will help you in the long run.
Yeah, and the snacks especially. Try to get a protein focused item mixed in there, but always feel free to switch it up. A lot of times the snacks are going to be things that are a little bit more shelf stable. So have a variety. The Thrive Marketplace, again, is another place where they have a whole lot of great quality products that fit that snack category. That's kind of how I view Thrive for the most part. Like they have the sauces, the mix-ins for those core recipes and meals and things like that, but then also the snacks side of things. Like they do a great job of having quality products to be able to bridge the gap in between meals. So it's taking that time to figure out what actually is your schedule, what do you need, and how are you going to be able to provide to allocate for that. And for each meal, make sure you've got that protein component in there. I recommend around a quarter of a pound per meal. Where are you getting the carbs from? Where are you getting the fat from? And what's going to be providing that color of the fruits and vegetables within it?
Yeah. And just like that, it's really as easy as that. If you have questions about this or like starting your meal prep journey or doing it and you're very stuck and you're like, I hate doing this, like, I need some help or I need some inspiration, reach out to us. This is something we literally do this every week. We've been married, what, 6, 7 years now? This is terrible. I can't even do math. 6 years. It's six
I am
years.
so glad that this is recorded.
We've been married for 6 years. We've been doing this long before we got married. Um, and so I think we have really good practice with this and through lots of different seasons. Plus, we help our patients with this. So please reach out if you have questions. It is possible to adapt this to your life. And that's the biggest key, taking a framework and then making it work for you.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be perfect. You're not trying to earn a Michelin star in your kitchen or anything like that. So if you have questions, need help, please, please, please reach on out to us. But if you're looking for somebody to come and help actually cook for you, lose my number. I am not volunteering for that.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.